ईयर स्टूडेंट्स, अगर आप इन वीडियो लेक्चर्स का मैक्सिमम यूटिलाइजेशन करना चाहते हो तो आई थिंक आपको ये इंप्रूव सेशन डेफिनेटली फॉलो करना चाहिए और रिलीजियसली फॉलो करना चाहिए। इंप्रूव सेशन क्या है, इसका लिंक डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में है, तो जाओ उसको चेक करो। इसके अलावा अगर आप व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप ज्वाइन करना चाहते हो, और मुझे लगता है आपको करना भी चाहिए, तो आप क्या करो, हमारे वेबसाइट पे जाकर के अपने कॉन्टैक्ट डिटेल्स दे दो या फिर इस व्हाट्सएप नंबर पे जाकर के अपने कॉन्टैक्ट डिटेल्स दे दो, सो दैट हम आपको उसमें ऐड कर सके। चलो अब पढ़ना शुरू करते हैं।
Hi, welcome back. This is a continuation video of center of mass. So in this video we'll be doing center of mass frame of reference analysis and we'll be finishing the basics of collision. Okay, so let's start. Here I have a coordinate system I, J and K, and suppose here is the position of a particle, okay, and this position is P, and here is the center of mass of the system. So this particle P is any general particle among a constellation of particles, okay, and for this whole system of particle, this is my center of mass. So at C my center of mass is present, and at P any general particle is present. Okay, so let's draw the vectors. So this is RC, this is RP, and this is RPC. So the vector going from C to P is the position vector of point P with respect to C, RPC. So I can write, I should be able to see RP is going to be RC plus RPC, or RPC is RP minus RC. This is just the relative position of particle P with respect to C, and if I'm going to differentiate it, I'll get VPC is equal to VP minus VC. Okay, so like this is for any general particle I. So for ith particle, where I is variable, it's going to go from 1 to n. Suppose there are n number of particles, so I goes from 1 to n. So VIC is going to be VI minus VC. So velocity of ith particle with respect to center of mass is going to be velocity of ith particle with respect to ground minus velocity of center of mass with respect to ground. Okay, so just multiply by mass of that individual particle I. So it's going to be mi VIC is equal to mi VI minus mi VIC. Now suppose I'm going to sum all of this. So this is the momentum of the ith particle with respect to the center of mass. Suppose I want to sum all of those momenta with respect to center of mass, so I'm just going to do summation of mi VIC, and then this is going to be summation of mi VI minus summation of mi VC. Okay, now just think about this term over here. Okay, so this term summation of mi VC, I can take VC like outside because this is a constant, and this becomes VC summation of mi. Okay, now if you remember the formula for center of mass is velocity, this term exactly is equal to summation of mi VI. Why? So just for the refresher, velocity of the center of mass is summation of mi VI divided by summation of mi. Okay, so this summation of mi and this VC is equal to summation of mi VI. Okay, so this term is exactly equal to summation of mi VI, and again you can put back in this equation, and this whole term goes to 0. Okay, so this summation of mi VIC is 0. Now what is summation of mi VIC? Mi VIC is basically the momentum of the ith particle with respect to the center of mass frame. Okay, so this is summation of PIC. So this summation of PIC goes to 0. That means the momentum of, like, the net momentum of all the particles with respect to the center of mass is 0. So center of mass is also known as zero momentum frame. Okay, so if this whole thing looks very mathematical, wait for some time, and like maybe in some kind of problems we are going to use this formula, and it will get more clear. Okay, so just keep in mind, COM is a zero momentum frame. Okay, and momentum of all particles in the COM frame goes to 0, and this is a simple derivation that you can convince yourself with. Okay, so let's move on to the next topic. Again, to reiterate, if f net on the system is 0, okay, if f net on the system is 0, so then I can see the momentum of the system is constant. Okay, how? Because f net is equal to dp by dt, and if this guy goes to 0, this whole right hand side goes to 0, and that means p, this number is constant. Okay, so this is just the conservation of momentum, conservation of linear momentum. If F net on the system is 0, net external force is 0, then the momentum of the system remains constant. Okay, so what do I mean by that? I'll just give you an example. Suppose here's a particle m1 and here's a particle m2, and this guy goes this guy is moving with a velocity v1, and this guy is initially at rest. Okay, so this guy goes and collides with this guy. What do I mean by collision? So collision, you can think of is basically a process in which there is a redistribution of energy and momentum. Okay, so this guy is going to be like, it's possible that it's going to collide, and by collision it can be an actual contact, or maybe just it's going to interact somehow with this guy. Okay, so in this case, let's assume this is going to be an actual contact, and it's going to give some kind of impulse on this guy, so that is going to be J, and similarly this guy is going to apply an impulse of J on this guy. Now if you think about the force, suppose the this whole process lasted for delta t time. Okay, and we know F is equal to dp by dt, and this dp is your J, so J is equal to F dot F into dt. Okay, so from, like, if I have to calculate the force is going to be this J thing divided by delta t. Okay, so this J by delta t and this J by delta t. So force on this guy is going to towards right, force on this guy is going to towards left. Now if I'm assuming there is no frictional force, or there is no other external force acting on these bodies, so the only force that is acting is the like action reaction or pair, or this impulsive force, but that is acting just for a single body. If I'm talking about the whole system, this force and this force goes to 0 because they are acting in opposite direction, and the their magnitudes are same. Okay, so this is just going to form the action reaction pair from the Newton's third equation of motion. Okay, so still I can say F net of the system, like F net on the system is 0, and the momentum of the system remains constant. Okay, so we'll be using this concept extensively in the problem solving session. Okay, and for the further discussion of momentum. Okay, now let's talk about collision. Okay, so the definition of collision is like it's a mutual interaction between particles for a short interval of time where redistribution of energy and momentum takes place. Okay, so like whenever I'm talking about collision, like suppose for two particle system, in that collision those particles are going to be like in contact, or maybe not in contact, but during that interval their energies and their corresponding momentums are going to be like changed. Okay, so let's talk about the type of collisions. There are like different kind of segregation. First is based on the conservation of energy, and in that case there are two types, elastic and inelastic. For inelastic, delta Ke for the system is 0, so there is no loss or there is no change in kinetic energy, and in inelastic collision we have delta K not equal to 0. Generally we have loss in kinetic energy. Okay, the second segregation is based on line of impact. Okay, and line of impact here is basically the line of the common normal. Okay, so suppose two particle are colliding with each other, and suppose for the sake of simplification I'm like taking as spherical particles, and in that case suppose they are colliding in such a way that the velocities before their line before the impact is along the line of impact. Line of impact is the line of common normal. Okay, so this is the common normal, and if the velocities is along the common normal, in that case the collision is going to be head on. Or if the common normal is like this and the velocities is going to make some angle theta with the common normal, and that collision is going to be oblique collision. So in this case, if the particle is approaching here and it's colliding like this, and in that case it's going to be head-on collision. And other case, suppose from here the particle is approaching this guy and it goes something like this. Okay, so this is going to be the line of impact, and the velocity is going to be in this direction, and that is going to make some angle theta, where the theta is going to be non-zero. In that case the collision type is going to be oblique collision. Okay, so let's move on to some problems in this case. Okay, so here is a simple scenario. There's a surface and there are two particles, m1 and m2. m1 is moving towards right with a velocity v1 and m2 is moving towards right with a velocity v2. And let's take the case for which the collision is head-on and the process is elastic, so there is no loss of kinetic energy and the collision is happening along the line of common normal or the line of impact. Okay, so for this collision to happen, first of all I must have v1 more than v2, or the speed of particle 1 must be more than the speed of particle 2. So now what can I write in this case? So if the collision is elastic, that means there is no loss of kinetic energy, so obviously kinetic energy of the system before the collision must be equal to kinetic energy of the system after the collision. So Ki has to be equal to Kf. So this is basically conservation of kinetic energy, and the second case is like conservation of momentum. Okay, so we are going to have conservation of K, and then we have a conservation of momentum. Why I'm talking about conservation of momentum? Because there is no net external force acting on the system, and whatever impulsive forces they are going to apply, they're going to apply on each other in equal magnitude, so that is going to already cancel each other out. So F net on the system is 0, and as you know F net on the system is 0, so the momentum of the system remains constant because F net is equal to dp by dt, and F goes to 0, dp by dt goes to 0, and P remains constant. Okay, so for that I can write m1 v1 plus m2 v2, and suppose after collision this guy is moving with v1 dash and the second guy is moving with v2 dash, and this is your m1 and this is your m2. So after collision this is going to be m1 v1 dash plus m2 v2 dash. Okay, so Ki is going to give me the relation half m1 v1 square plus half m2 v2 square is equal to half m1 v1 dash square plus half m2 v2 dash square. Okay, so now this is a simple exercise, like using these relation you can figure out v1 dash and v2 dash. Why? Because if you think about it, we have two equation in and two unknown. We have this v1 dash and v2 dash, two unknown, and then we have two equation. I can just like exploit these two relationship and I'll able to figure it out, v1 dash and v2 dash. But I'm not going to do the derivation. You can find the derivation in any standard book. So like I'll stop this video here, and in the next video we'll do some problem solving on this head-on elastic collision. Then we'll move on to head-on inelastic collision. Okay, and then we'll talk about coefficient of restitution. That is a term that you are going to like require the knowledge of whenever you are dealing with inelastic collisions. Okay, so I'll stop the video here and I'll see you in the next video.